There are 6 resources at MIT that make it the ultimate school for entrepreneurs. Dropbox, Qualcomm, iRobot, Intel, Khan Academy. All of these have one thing in common: MIT founders. Although a lot of people think it takes a genius working tirelessly in his dorm room to launch a billion-dollar tech startup, I uncovered something much more surprising. Entrepreneurship can be taught. These 6 resources are how MIT cultivates regular folks into becoming the most successful founders in the world. My journey started long before I got into MIT. If you're in high school looking at colleges to apply to, you might be in the same position I was, unsure of what to look for when it comes to startup resources. I just saw Martin Trust Center listed on the MIT website and checked that box off. But now as a student, I want to share what these resources actually are and what you should be looking for in colleges for entrepreneurship. I'm sharing these resources so that you can write about it in your applications or take advantage of them if you're already in college. At first, entrepreneurship was just something in the back of my mind, something I'd explore after school. That changed when I took one class during MIT's Independent Activities period. Start MIT is a class that demystified MIT's on-ramp. It's a structured way to take anyone and bring them from an idea to a startup founder. When you saw this image, you were probably just as confused as I was with the overwhelming amount of resources. So we're gonna go into exactly what they are. All right, number 1 is gonna be Sandbox, which is basically free money for student startups. MIT Sandbox gives students up to $25,000 in non-dilutive funding, which means MIT takes no ownership of your company and you can work on your startup idea. Unlike traditional grants, you don't even need a full-fledged business plan, just a problem you want to solve and a willingness to solve it. MIT Sandbox also pairs you with mentors from industry and venture capital to help you refine your idea. A lot of startups that get their first round of funding through Sandbox went on to raise millions in VC funding. All right, resource number 2 is going to be DeltaV and MIT's 100K competition, which are kind of like built-in startup accelerators. If you've ever heard of Y Combinator or Techstars, MIT has its own version, which is called DeltaV. And DeltaV is MIT's summer accelerator for startups, where selected teams will get $20,000 in funding, non-dilutive again, and office space in the heart of Kendall Square. This is where some of the biggest startups and VC firms are, as well as intensive mentorship from successful entrepreneurs and investors. DeltaV takes student startups from idea to launch in just a few months. Many companies that went through DeltaV also went on to raise millions in venture capital funding. And then there's also the MIT 100K competition. One of the most famous student startup competitions in the world. Winners will take home $100,000 in prize money, and some of the past winners include HubSpot, Akamai, and Harmonix, the makers of Guitar Hero. All right, resource number 3 is gonna be the Martin Trust Center, which is kind of like MIT's HQ for startups. The Martin Trust Center for MIT is the heart of the entrepreneurial ecosystem. It offers office space for students working on startup ideas, workshops on startup building, pitching, and fundraising, and of course the entrepreneurs in residence, or EIRs, which are the most valuable part of the Trust Center. These are real startup founders and investors who are invested in student success in building startups. Basically, if you have an idea, this is where you go to turn it into a reality. All right, 4th is the Venture Mentoring Service, which is a way to get personal guidance from successful founders. MIT's Venture Mentoring Service connects student founders with seasoned entrepreneurs, CEOs, and of course investors who act as advisors. This is huge because most universities don't offer one-on-one consulting, especially from successful founders, but at MIT you can literally sit down with a mentor who raised millions of dollars or scaled up a startup from nothing to a huge business. All right, resource number 5 is VC funding and MIT's alumni network. Raising money for a startup is hard, but if you're at MIT, you get access to one of the strongest alumni networks in venture capital. VCs love founders who went to top schools because they believe, whether true or not, that these students are going to have the skills necessary to accomplish their visions and of course make the VCs a lot of money. MIT also hosts exclusive VC pitch events where student startups get to pitch to real investors. So if you want to raise capital, MIT is the best place to do it. All right, finally, we have what MIT calls the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Certificate, which is a series of classes at MIT that will teach you how to become an entrepreneur. Some of the classes include 15390 New Enterprises, which teaches you how to launch an idea from scratch. Entrepreneurial Finance, which is 15431. This teaches you everything about raising venture capital And then of course, Artificial Intelligence for Business, 781, which teaches you how to build AI startups. The best part about MIT's entrepreneurship classes is they're taught by actual EIRs who have actually launched businesses and aren't just talking to you about business without having ever run one. Now, I know most of my viewers aren't at MIT. Some of you are in high school, some in college, and some are international. So here's what you need to do next. If you're in high school, take notes on everything I said. Mention these types of resources in your college applications. It will look impressive that you know this stuff. And also look for similar programs in the schools you're applying for. If you're in college, research what your school has to offer for entrepreneurship. You'll be surprised at the resources available that most people never use. If your school doesn't have enough resources, I'm building a community to help students get access to mentorship, funding, and startup support. If you're interested, drop a comment below and I'll send you more information. If you're serious about starting a business, don't wait. Your network and access to resources matter way more than whatever your idea is. Thank you for watching. Now click on this video right here as soon as you subscribe, comment, and like this video, and let me know if you like this kind of content.